So what is going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video where today we are taking a look at the top 5 things you didn't know about NACHT Der Untoten. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a massive thumbs up. That would really help me out, and if you do that and leave a comment, I will pick some to be featured in the next video. Here are a few from the last one. Now, I asked you guys what videos do you want, and a lot of you told me more zombies videos, Battlefield and Overwatch. So let me know in the comments which out of those 3, or maybe it's all 3 or just 2 of them, would you like to see on the channel. But for now, today we are coming back with another zombies video, another top 5. Today we are carrying on the series with NACHT Der Untoten. Now, this one was a difficult one to do because NACHT was the first zombies map we ever had, and because of that, simply there aren't really too many Easter eggs. As we know, NACHT Der Untoten really was just a project map. It was just a little side experiment, a little project that Treyarch were doing besides from the multiplayer and the campaign. Zombies at this time was new. I guess you could say this whole zombies map itself was a small Easter egg from Treyarch for us to discover for the first time. So as you would think, there really aren't too many intentional Easter eggs in here for us to find. In fact, there may only be about 5, but because this is the oldest, the first, the original zombies map, I'm willing to bet at least some of you won't know a couple of these. I thought actually it may be worth doing a video on. So if you want to check out my other top 5 things you didn't know, we've got some awesome videos. Check out links in the description, and here we go. So coming in at number 5 is the radio music Easter egg from the original NACHT Der Untoten. Now, all of these Easter eggs are from the original World at War version. We also saw NACHT Der Untoten in Black Ops 1, we saw it in Black Ops 2 Transit, and we've seen it again in Black Ops 3 Revelations, so it's definitely popped up every now and again. But for this video, I'm going to be talking about the original NACHT. Now, in the original version, there actually was a musical Easter egg when you go into the help room door. When you go through there, come over to the mystery box, and on a desk near this boarded up window, you will see there is a radio. Now, if you shoot this or knife it, it's going to start playing songs from the campaign, and I believe the 2 songs that this radio plays is the World at War theme song, the main menu song, and also one from the campaign. I can't quite remember which one it is, but actually it's a really cool Easter egg. And if you think about it, this was the first ever Easter egg we've had in zombies. I made a video on this also to do with the storyline of NACHT Der Untoten. It's actually very interesting, so if you want to check it out, I will link it down in the description. Coming in at number 4 is Ascend from Darkness. Now, we know on NACHT Der Untoten, the most famous quote in zombies is Ascend from Darkness. We've had it on a load of different zombies maps. The most memorable for me is the Giants, but I believe we saw it in Verrückt and other maps as well. We've had this quote, Ascend from Darkness, from the very beginning. Now, we know that NACHT Der Untoten was a project map. Really, anything to do with here, to do with storyline, really didn't exist at the time. Being made up as we've gone through World at War, Black Ops 1, BO2 and Black Ops 3. A story for NACHT Der Untoten has developed, but at the time when this map first came out, we can bet 99% this had nothing to do with a story, because we didn't have a story when NACHT first came out. It was made up as we slowly moved along. There still has to be a reason why Treyarch decided to add this specific quote in at the time. NACHT Der Untoten, the map name, translated to English, actually means Night of the Living Dead. As we can see, NACHT is a dark map. We are playing literally in the night. We have the zombies coming out of the fog, the mist, the darkness, into the bunker. So maybe Ascend from Darkness was telling us that the zombies are literally ascending from the darkness into the bunker. But we also know NACHT Der Untoten has 2 floors. This quote is literally written on the staircase to be seen as you're heading upstairs. As we've gone on through our zombie storyline, this quote may now have a meaning. Nothing specific comes to my mind for what this quote could actually mean, or the true explanation behind it. Even with everything we know about our zombie storyline with Dr. Monty, Dr. Maxi, 115, all of these things, there's still the question as to what does Ascend from Darkness, the most famous quote in zombies mean. Coming in at number 3 is another quote again, one of the first we ever had in zombies, and that was "Salvation lies above." We only ever had 3 chalk drawings on the walls in NACHT, and that was the help door. We had help written on that, but it wasn't completely finished. It kind of looked like hell, and then we had Ascent from Darkness and Salvation lies above. Now again, at the time of NACHT, we can bet this didn't really mean anything. We have Salvation lies above and Ascent from Darkness. Salvation lies above actually is pretty similar to Ascent from Darkness, the other quote. They're both in the situation of NACHT really could mean the same thing. Ascent from Darkness means going up from the dark, and Salvation lies above also means, you know, go above and you will find light. You will find basically salvation. If you link this to what we now know in zombies, again it could have been telling us that salvation lies above. In Monty's perfect universe, in heaven or whatever exists in zombies above, you will find salvation from all of the harm, ruin and loss found on Earth in this zombie apocalyptic wasteland. So 2 really interesting quotes. Now coming in at number 2, you can find on the map there is a downed bomber. There is a downed plane. Now ages ago I think it was a bit of a crazy theory on this plane, linking it to the transit bus and a few other things, and thinking about it now, it was probably wrong, but at the time it was definitely very interesting video to make and watch. So if for some reason you want to check it out, it's a really old one, I'll link it in the description. Now just like everything else, over time we've developed a story, or kind of a story, on NACHT DER UNTOTEN. I mean, we've never really had solid evidence on anything, so a lot of it's been theory and common sense. But since NACHT DER UNTOTEN is in, and we know this from the campaign, an abandoned Nazi airfield, there's no surprise that there's a downed plane here, also because it's during World War II, so see a downed plane, you know, there's not really too much mystery behind that, but we have developed a story on it. And again, if you want to know what it is, well, I'm going to show you a quick 3-minute overview, a 3-minute video of the story. Sometime between April 30th and September 10th, 1945, 4 American Marines were flying above a Nazi abandoned airfield. It is speculated that their plane had been carrying a crate of Element 115. Suddenly, for some unknown reason, the plane hit a fault and came crash landing into the Nazi abandoned airfield. Upon their awakening, they found that the Element 115 had infected the villagers in the surrounding areas, causing them to mutate into our very first sight of the zombies. The 4 Marines quickly retreated back into the Nazi-controlled territory, but little did they know that this was the origins of our whole zombie storyline. It was here that our 4 Marines then had to survive the endless waves of the undead, but it was only a matter of time before they were to discover their true fate. During their time at the Night of the Undead, they discovered that since it had been abandoned, they were not the first ones here. Writing on the wall states you must ascend from darkness and salvation lies above. It is unknown what became of the Marines, but we can suspect that they eventually were overcome by the zombie horde. However, we learned by Treyarch's official site in a mysterious radio transmission that this is not the first outbreak that has happened at NACHT DER UNTOTEN. Meanwhile, over in transit, the Americans built a prototype of NACHT DER UNTOTEN. In the cornfields, you can see we have a complete rebuild and replica of NACHT DER UNTOTEN. It is believed this was built by the US Army as a prototype and as a way for them to understand the research and the layout of the buildings in Nazi Germany. It could have been that the US were planning to invade this Nazi airfield when it was active, and in order to get a better idea of the layout and for their mission to be successful straight away, they built this prototype for them to practice before they went to Nazi Germany itself to infiltrate the actual structure. However, we can find this prototype within transit. Now in Black Ops 1 Zombies, we find that we return to NACHT DER UNTOTEN, but this time with our original crew. Takio, Dempsey, Nikolai and Richtofen return back to NACHT DER UNTOTEN, but it's unclear whether they arrived before the original Marines or after. However, once again, it is sometime between April 30th and September 10th, 1945. The mission of why our original characters are at NACHT DER UNTOTEN in the first place once again is unknown, but it's believed that it could be to find out the research that was going on here with Group 601. Very little is known about Group 601. In fact, the only bit of information we have about them is this image. You can see we have the Group 935 logo with Group 601 in the middle. Surrounding it, we have a nuke and some pylons with some German writing. Once translated, it says Stage 2, Strength by Regulation. From this, we can assume that Group 601 is kind of like an offspring of Group 935, where they are researching more on the sides of communication, possibly even mind control. In the background of this image, you can see we have pylons that are lit up, and the only bit of evidence we really have to show that Group 601 could have been involved with NACHT DER UNTOTEN is the fact that we see a pylon looking very similar in the background in NACHT. I know it's very little, and in fact we can't really take anything out of this, but if there is a backstory to NACHT DER UNTOTEN, then it could possibly be that Group 601 was involved and working here. And if that's the case, that could be the reason why our original characters came back to NACHT DER UNTOTEN. Apart from that, we get no explanation, and that really is all of the story we have about this map. Now finally, coming in at number 1 is the fact that everything on NACHT really is an Easter egg. NACHT DER UNTOTEN itself was, you know, an Easter egg for Treyarch. It was an Easter egg we got when we completed the campaign in the first original World at War, and a lot of things in NACHT DER UNTOTEN were just an accident. A lot of it was never intentional. The Zombies map itself was just a side project that the guys at Treyarch thought this will be something cool to work on. The ray gun was never intended to be in Zombies, but the lead project director on NACHT DER UNTOTEN at the time wanted something unique, just wanted some special unique weapon in this Zombies mode that they had created, and it just so happened that someone working at Treyarch called Porter had created on the side a little project for himself called the ray gun. So we showed it to the devs, the guys at Treyarch. They said, yes, you know what, we're going to add that into the game. The max ammo, the nuke, the insta-kill, again, all of those didn't start out as what we see them now. These things that we are so used to seeing originally were different. Instead of the nuke, the max ammo, the insta-kill, originally those drops, those symbols were a rat, a gold bar, and other things like that. Just random objects. Whenever the zombies hit us, as we know, they sound like they are saying Sam. Now obviously, when NACHT first came out, this wouldn't have had anything to do with the story. As we've moved on, we know it's because Samantha was controlling the zombies at the time. The zombies saying Sam, a glitch in the system. It was a bug that Treyarch had. It wasn't intentional, but they actually found it interesting. They thought this goes with the game, so left it in. NACHT DER UNTOTEN was made on mistakes. A small project, a small Easter egg for Treyarch to work on, and it's ended up being what it is today. Honestly, I just gotta say, Treyarch, Zombies, I freaking miss you. So there we go, guys. Those are the top 5 things you didn't know about NACHT DER UNTOTEN. Again, it's a very difficult list to make, but I want to do this video, all the top 5 things you didn't know for all of these Zombies maps. So there it is for NACHT. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, left me a like rating, then if you could do that, that'd mean an awful lot to me. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more Zombies videos. Leave a like rating, leave a comment, and of course I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.